Okay, for people joining this live stream, we are looking at a feature of version 12 of Wolfram Language that has to do with generating standalone applications using Wolfram script and in other ways. So let's have a quick look through here. So via Wolfram script, the idea is that if you say Wolfram script -UI, okay, so let's look at this first of all. So first of all, Wolfram script -NB simply executes the notebook.
Right. Like notebook evaluate does.
Okay.
And then it returns the output of the
class. Do we say that in a reasonable way in the documentation for Wolfram script?
It's not documented yet, so that's one thing we need to do.
Okay. Okay.
Then with the -UI option, it will just open a notebook.
Do you think that's the right thing? I mean, shouldn't we say, I think that's going to cause us trouble. So another thing it might do is to simply run the notebook. See what I'm saying? Take the notebook and just, as if it's select every cell and run it.
Yeah, that's question 1.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We basically need additional, like maybe, -execute or something. Basically, that does exactly what you're saying, like run the cells if there are cells in it, but that you can see. It basically does what the first.
I think that this thing here should run all the cells.
It does, but it doesn't display the notebook. So this is something to run it like headless, just if you just want to run it.
That's correct. It just, okay, so hold on a second. This executes the input of the notebook. Okay. But then the thing it returns
is on the command line.
I see. So it ran the notebook. Okay. So do you want me to actually write documentation for this? Do you have any idea where the where is the page?
Documentation.
Where is it? Do you know? How do I find it?
Good question. Try that, and if that doesn't, okay.
Okay, hold on. This might work. I think we may have to ask Brian. Can somebody get hold of Brian van der Loo?
Sure, I will.
It's the program pages. So it's the 4th or 5th one down from the top, program pages, and then get program page, and then type Wolfram script.
Amazing. Okay. Okay. Gosh. Oh, excuse me. Okay, what's this -notebook?
So
I think that's the full. Sorry, go ahead.
Right, that's when we were originally talking about it, that's the full command for -NB.
I see. So that can be defuturized now.
Right, but there's some cases where it's a little bit. Yeah, that one I think makes sense to defuturize.
But does everything work? It's not just file; it's also URL and -cloud and -low. Do all the other ones work?
I don't think the URL one works at the moment.
It needs to.
Okay.
That's a very important case.
Right.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, hold on. So let's defuturize this. Oh gosh, what on earth is all that junk? Okay. So the important thing here, again, I think let's concentrate more on the functionality than documentation, probably.
If you defuturize it, that means it's going to be documented in version 12, even though that may not work yet.
What may not work?
The URLs, the things that Garrett just said weren't going to work yet.
Well, then there'll be bugs. Okay.
That shouldn't be too hard to hook up. I already have code to download from cloud.
Okay.
Okay, so hold on. We have a number of comments on the live stream. How would I run a notebook as a daemon? Basically starting its own kernel and keeping it running.
That would be the first case, because if you have, if the test notebook doesn't exit, if there's a while loop, then that's just going to keep running.
Okay.
I think. I mean,
for example, a computer search and a notebook that you want to keep running for a long time, maintaining search state and logging things, but not showing the notebook.
Yeah, then the notebook has to be written in a way that it doesn't exit with a while true loop or some other looping thing.
Well, yeah, if it's doing a big search, then it's doing a big search. But it wants to, the notebook would then spawn out, it would write notebooks itself.
Yeah, it can do anything a notebook can do. But the first case is, is headless.
Okay, so the comment here is that notebook notebook star functions don't typically work in the pure kernel. Is that true still? In other words, if I go to a pure kernel, right, and I run, let's hope I can get to a pure kernel. Let's see.
Well, there's a using front end function, right?
Well, okay, hold on. So if I go to a pure kernel here, so hopefully I can do this.
I hope so too. Oh, that's 11.3. That's okay. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so what should I do here?
You can do using front end.
Like this?
And open brackets. And then let me see if we have a good example. Oh, there's no examples.
That's not good.
You can do something like create document or something.
What on earth is going to happen here?
We'll create a document headlessly, as far like of one, or.
What the heck is that?
That's not from the kernel. That's something that's running.
What the heck is that?
I don't know what it is, but we can take a screenshot and investigate, but I think that's just some indexing service that you have running because you just created a document.
Oh.
That might be Rob Schofield's, notebook indexer thingy.
Okay, but there's clearly something wrong because there's error unsupported compressor.
Yeah. Carla, can you take a screenshot of that?
But so I don't think I really knew or understood this, and I think the folks on our live stream didn't know it, and I don't think I would have known it either. So if I say using front end,
yeah, it's documented using front end, so that's.
But is it documented in the notebook? Well, that is a pretty lame piece of documentation, if I might say so.
Well,
okay, so wait a minute. But this doesn't say. Yeah, this needs to say that in a standalone kernel you need to use using front end. But why do you need using front end? Why does it even care? Why don't you just have it just work? Why do we need that?
I think some functions want to just work without a front end, and sometimes, like, what would you do with rasterize, for example?
I think rasterize should do whatever it does, and I mean, in other words, rasterize should work. But my point is that rasterize. I mean, if I say, let's say rasterize
1 or square root of 2
graphics of disk or something.
Yeah. No, actually, I think rasterize uses that using front end. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's what should happen by default for everything. Now, the only question is, the issue is this. Okay, the slightly subtle issue is it the same front end? Do you have a front end moon, so to speak, orbiting your Wolfram script? And I think the answer has to be yes. See what I'm saying? Okay, so here, let me try the following thing. If I say system open of %1, oh, that's very interesting. Why didn't that work? Why didn't that hand that to the operating system?
That's the object. That's not the. Let's see.
It is the thing. It is the thing. If I say input form of %1, I'll get that. What the heck is that? What the heck is that? What is that? What is that? Why does it say Mathematica? What is Mathematica? So what is this? Okay.
That's the service that's the front end that using front end basically uses.
Okay, so we need to fix that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't even understand what it is.
It's the headless front ends basically.
It's the link to it.
Yeah, I mean
But
we
this
need
is
to have like a Lou or another front end person in here because this is.
Well, let's see if we can find Lou.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carla,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I already warned you about this that this would happen. So.
Okay. But this should just, I mean, system open of that should work, right? I mean, if I say something like run,
I think so. Yeah.
I'm going on the wrong place here, but if I say something like, run, date or something, okay, I get the date, fine.
But system open on a notebook works. It's just that what is not implemented is the notebook object because it's not even saved yet, right? I mean, it's not actually. There's nothing on your hard disk.
I see.
That is a representation of,
But we're going to need that function, right? We're going to need a function that's exactly a function we're going to need is from a kernel, bring this up in the Windows server, right?
Right. But,
so, I mean, essentially, this is a notebook. Actually, wait a minute. What happens if I say notebook open of %1? Why didn't that work?
Using front end. You need to wrap using front end around it. But that's not going to be visible again because that's going to use the headless front end. So it's I don't know what the
Oh, that's really confusing. You see the $notebooks thing. Okay, if there's an orbiting, if there's a kind of a service front end, which there is here, the notion of whether $notebooks is true or false is less clear. I mean, it's false. It should be false because you're not operating through a notebook front end.
Exactly.
Right? That's what $notebooks means.
Right.
But you do need the ability to pop up a notebook from the kernel.
Do you have a notebook in your directory there that you can open with just system open with the file name? I mean, that I expect to work.
I would expect that would work too.
So just anything that ends in NB.
Yeah, great. Well, where would I find that?
I don't know. Downloads maybe. Do you have the notebook? The standalone applications notebook. Did you save that in your downloads folder, or where did that go?
What?
The agenda notebook.
Oh, I have no idea. Oh, well, I can look at downloads. Okay, so let's say,
No, you have to backspace. It's not a front end.
Okay, set directory to downloads. Okay, so now if I say file names, star.nb, right? And let's say, oh gosh, wow, this is a primitive world. Okay, all right, let's try.
So one of them should be your standalone applications thing.
Well, let's do the very last one. So let's say notebook open. So what do I say? So using front end.
System open. You don't need system open of that thing should open in a new front end. So yeah. Okay, that I did not expect to go wrong.
Well, so I say using front end. That's just going to confuse the hell out of it.
That should have worked.
Okay.
If you do system open with a particular file with an extension, that should just work. On Windows, that works just fine.
Well, I did that, but it didn't work.
I know that's just a bug.
Okay. All right. Okay. But so to me, we're going to need something which from within a standalone kernel. Okay. What should notebook open do? Should Notebook Open actually display something on your screen, or should Notebook Open do something different?
Well, there's options, right? I think there's visible, false, and true. Is that not an option for Notebook Open, or?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Well, I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. It's right here.
Oh,
so,
yeah, okay. There.
So that means, okay, great. So Notebook Open with by default has visible true. So Notebook Open in a script should just open a notebook in the Windows server if it can. Right? Now we may need a variable to determine whether a Windows server is present. Okay? But that's what this should do. And I mean, we should untangle the using front end horror from the other stuff. But let's keep going with the rest of this, okay? Okay, so that's execute a notebook, but dash UI, okay, what are you saying for dash UI?
It opens it so you can actually see the user interface.
That's basically Notebook Open. It Wolfram script just opens the notebook so you can see it.
Okay, but that then is a different Wolfram script dash notebook.
The big question is,
should run the notebook.
Should the notebook be visible and run?
Well, no, I think there's two orthogonal things. The notebook being visible,
maybe it should just
and the notebook running, right?
Yeah.
There's also a question of in what way does the notebook run? Notebook Evaluate has options that, for instance, let you restrict the evaluation to just initialization cells, for instance.
I see. Well, okay, so what this really is, in the Wolfram script world, we have dash code, right? Dash code and dash file, they just run what's in those things.
Right. And then you should be able to run notebooks. You should be able to just, like there's a function called notebook.
I claim that the missing thing here is a thing called dash display.
Yeah, which is dash UI, which is.
Yeah, I claim that the thing that's missing here is something that would be like Wolfram script. Oh gosh, I have no idea how to get that correct cell in there. Wolfram script dash display file. Yeah, no, just display. All display does is it displays the thing. It doesn't evaluate anything. Just brings the notebook up. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, but file can only be a notebook in that case, right? Like the Wolfram script does not print. I mean, should it print out? It seems a little bit weird too. I mean, it should not print a file if it's just a WL file.
Okay, fair enough. Well, maybe we need a term which isn't. Look, maybe what we need is dash interactive or something. But dash interactive doesn't seem like it takes a payload.
Dash launch.
Could just dash open.
Yeah, notebook open notebook.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, Wolfram script dash open a notebook. Okay, and then, then that's the thing that brings up. Okay, so now what?
That collapses those two options on the left, right? The dash UI dash notebook collapses.
Yes. It makes them just dash open, opens the notebook, but does not evaluate it.
Yeah, so that's the way to bring up notebooks and applications. Okay.
Now, if you want to evaluate the notebook, you would say after you did dash open notebook, well, what would you do? What happens to code that occurs after that?
Call it dash run maybe or something, or dash execute.
If one were writing this in the front end, you'd have the result of this would be a pointer to the notebook, which then you operate on.
Right. Underneath, I get back a notebook, so I can do notebook evaluate of it if we want to.
Okay, hold on. So What would happen if there's a hash bang Wolfram script dash open notebook, and then there's code? What would that do?
I'm not sure I understand that case.
What does it do with dash code in that case?
In that case, I think it tries to run the content as code. So, like if you have dash file, it assumes the content is the file. So maybe it should open the current content as a notebook.
It's a really peculiar case, though.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Okay,
hard.
hold on. Because I can see a case where what people want. I'm not. Oops, oh boy, I'm going to run out of time here. This is really bad. We're going to have to continue this. Okay, hold on. What about in the cloud? Dash open notebook dash cloud.
Not sure if the cloud is scriptable like that yet. Like you cannot just open a browser, open a notebook, and then have it run.
No, wait a minute, but you can, because what you can do, it's the equivalent of just going to a cloud object and opening it. If that notebook was in a cloud object, you could just open it, right? That's what the cloud does.
Wolfram script, you mean Wolfram script would launch like a browser at a particular notebook location or cloud object location, and then what?
Then it would just show it to you. I mean, you might have to log in and things, but right. I mean, it just be there in the UI.
So if it's just any URL, how do I confirm it's a notebook? I guess.
Don't know. Yeah.
Thinking. I mean, it depends how you specify. No. It isn't any URL. That notebook thing is a file name, right? Or okay, if it's a URL, right, then what you're doing is if it has the wrong MIME type, you're out of there, right? Otherwise, you are pulling that URL into the cloud and displaying it, which is a very useful thing to do. And it's something that we want to do in the cloud itself, right? This is a thing we've been wanting, is something which is a different thing, right? Where we have an actual, I think what we want to do is we want to have something where it goes, wolframcloud.com/ and then there's a URL that you can give here that is some other random URL, right? That it will go and try and essentially copy to the cloud and open there. Am I making sense?
An image from a different place and just assigns a Wolfram Cloud object to it?
Yes, it just reads it into a cloud object and then opens it with whatever MIME type it's supposed to open it with.
Okay.
So that allows you to, if it's just a way of getting notebooks displayed, right? I think it's what we're using for the GitHub thing is something very much like that.
Right.
So,
Lou, can you speak to that?
John is the person who knows about the GitHub stuff. I unfortunately don't.
I think that's what it does.
So
no, I remember now that there is something we can do like that. But it's would be the way I remember it is that would just be an API function, and then you just do question mark URL equals.
That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. That's fine.
Something.
Yeah, but I mean, then this Wolfram script thing with a dash cloud would basically just do that.
just go to the cloud
just
ID?
Use this. Yes, just use
Okay.
the thing that Arnaud just said. That is, call that API. Okay, but let's look over here. I do agree that there are things like how large there are endless options which we could in principle set for that notebook, like where it is on the screen and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Right.
So I have to look at that more like the positioning and the right. That does matter if you want to build some sort of custom application from a command line.
Yes, but I mean, I'm not sure that we should put all that stuff in the command line. I thought the way we were making that stuff work was that the actual Wolfram script file contained a thing that says, what was the name of the function? that says basically notebook open. I mean, so long as the notebook open thing just works, right? All you need to do is to say #bang Wolfram script notebook open and then the name of the notebook.
Yeah. So you're saying don't go too far in the direction with the window size and all those options?
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it.
So it's up to the notebook to know where it's supposed to live.
Yes, but what I'm saying is you can just script that by saying, instead of saying this, Wolfram script dash open notebook, what you instead are doing is you're saying, #bang Wolfram script, okay? And then the actual payload is notebook open of blah, 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 window margins, arrow, blah, blah, blah. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
What I'm saying?
I mean,
Trying to remember
underneath.
if that's an actual option for a notebook open, but that's.
It is.
I mean, underneath, I'm converting these themes and window size options essentially to something that will fit in this notebook open. So it's similar.
Yeah, right.
Already.
I mean, notebook open it'll take any notebook option. I think that's right, isn't it, Lou?
Yes, I believe so. On desktop. I don't know what the. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I understand, but what this is doing is, I wasn't talking about cloud here. I'm talking about in this case, right? Okay, so the
I mean, the benefit of this is that notebook open will return the notebook object. So you could have a dozen more lines here that
absolutely do all kinds of things to it. Yeah, right, exactly. This is the right way to do this. Okay, and this is only a courtesy. Wolfram script dash open notebook. It's just a courtesy that is the equivalent of this. Okay.
And then the rest.
Now, okay, hold on. There's one thing here that we do need to specify, right? Which is the UI specification, like the menu theme, right? So even in this case, this needs to say something about the. I think we should call it UI theme.
Yeah. Look at the agenda. That's the next item on the agenda.
Okay. Fine. Okay, so then I think it's -UI theme, blah, blah, blah. And that means if it launches a UI, this is the UI to launch. Well, actually, no. I'm taking that back. -UI means launch a UI, right? Because you know whether you want to launch a UI or not. That will launch a UI, and then it will open that notebook into that UI. Well, the problem with that is we want it to start the UI with that notebook open. That's the issue. Get what I'm saying? Lou, do you understand that point?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I was distracted for just that second.
Okay. Look, we want it to be able to, we don't just want it to open a UI and then, lazily bring up a notebook, so to speak. We want it to open a UI in which the notebook has been,
Yeah, but we've got that figured out already with Wolfram scripts. That's it.
What is that?
The screenshots you see on the left, they're all coming up without welcome screens, without any sort of startup screens, without any
Yeah, but that's using your but what with the new proposal for how this works? How do you get it?
Well, it would do the same thing. It would not show the startup splash thing. It would not.
No, I understand that, but if you need to use all these window margins and all that kind of stuff.
Well, scroll down in the agenda, right? There's a couple of different themes. One with menus, one without menus.
Well, I know that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you need to place the window at a particular place on the screen or use other weird options here.
I would expect that notebook open with options will do that moving before making the notebook visible.
Yeah. Now, I know that, but I'm saying, Lou, you don't get to use notebook open because this is the initial launch of the UI. Right. So this thing here,
but it comes comes up silently, Stephen. It comes up silently.
It does.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. That there is no startup splash screen. There's no welcome screen. There's nothing. Okay. So when it launches, the first thing you'll ever get to see is one of those notebooks. I mean, I can show you if you don't believe me.
No, I believe you.
Okay.
This is nice. Okay, on the live stream, Ethan is asking for a -daemon option, which restarts the notebook and keeps running it. Now, we have that notion of a persistent session in Wolfram script, don't we?
I don't think we quite have like a persistent session.
Well, we had that idea of a persistent
Yeah,
session.
we
I don't know whether
had an idea for it. It's interesting because there's a couple different ways to do it. You could connect to an existing open session, run things, or try to start a new one. But
Well,
trying
no,
to manage that is
what Ethan is asking for is, and it's a very reasonable thing to ask for, that there is a server process that just keeps on trying to run a notebook. Now, of course, the question is, if it crashes and wants to restart, what does it actually restart? You get what I'm asking? I mean, in other words, it's not obvious how it keeps going, so to speak. Right?
I see. So
Or,
this
for
is
example, the other case is if you restart your computer and it wants to restart running. I mean, that is much more like the continuous task mechanism,
great.
which is a yet separate thing. I think that's more like running a continuous task, which I think, now, the question of whether Wolfram script can launch a continuous task is a different issue. Okay, let's have a very, very quick look at this, and then unfortunately I have to go. But all right, what are these?
So this is the Wolfram Language function, which takes content, like any sort of expression, but there's different
Yes.
types, and creates the appropriate Wolfram Language script file, which you can then run from the command line to do, the right thing. Either
Does this work?
it doesn't work yet, but this is the project as I understand it.
There's a really rough prototype I have, but it's not.
It's really rough. Yeah, let's not.
Okay.
It's like.
But
in all these cases, we can.
Okay.
Can think about what should it do. Like if you have an image, right? Should the Wolfram script just bring up, a small.
Okay, hold on. So let's take this case here. Okay. In this case here, it's going to do the same type of thing as a Wolfram script -API.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Where is it going to bring up?
I think there's two cases. There's command line oriented cases where it's just textual, back and forth, right?
No, but I mean, how do you use this one? So let's take this one here. Do you use it by calling Wolfram script -API, or is this?
No, you just type API function.wls and then -x2 or whatever.
Wow.
Right.
Well, but here, notice in Wolfram script you have to type -args. So if you can just type -x2, that's wonderful. If what you can do there is type -x2, and then what you're seeing is something that.
Okay, right. The -args thing is what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if the other one works.
Well, but I mean, we could imagine something where it works like an API, where the API is because normally in an API you get those underscore things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in this case, what I can do is I can get that type number and I can build the script with that as -args inside of the script.
Okay.
But
I mean, so this is clearly very useful to have a command line deploy of an API function. That's clearly useful. In the content-oriented cases that you've listed there, well, like a form function, what on earth would that do? Would that actually bring up an interface where, like a command line interface where you type in, 3 and then, okay.
It uses the form page stuff that already exists in the front end.
No, but in the front end. But so it's bringing up a notebook thing. It's not bringing up something that's a raw command line. Right, with ASCII.
I guess right. We haven't thought about that one yet. There could be a cloud version as well if it's cloud deployed.
Right, but there could also be a form page that is. There could be a form page that works like an old-fashioned Unix program, right? Where you just type in, you type in X, it prompts you for X. You type in 2, it gives a result. It prompts you for X again. You type in 3, it gives you a result, etc.
Right, but my idea was that we just leverage the existing code that already exists. I think what you're describing here
No,
would
but
be
I mean, the existing code is, I agree, but the existing code is some kind of grand JavaScript animal.
In the cloud, yes, but I think most of these things also have a front-end version of.
They do, but whether they have a version that works in the command line front end, I don't know. If that works, and it may, then we are home free there. Listen, really, unfortunately, I have to go. But I mean, this is wonderful. This is really interesting. Can we try to continue this in the next few days? And I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time to grind through this, I think. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Unfortunately, yeah, I really love to go on with this now, but unfortunately, I have to go to something else.
Okay.
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 To be continued. Okay. Thanks for the comments on the live stream.
Have a good weekend, everyone.